Welcome to the GardeningDad.com's Gardening School. My name is Paul, and in today's course, I'm going to teach you how to winterize your chicken coop no matter where you live. In this course, we're going to talk about the materials that you need and exactly how to winterize it. So let's begin. One of the best things about having chickens is that they are low maintenance, especially during the winter. But that doesn't mean that you should neglect them or not try to help protect them during the winter with all the elements that can affect them. The first thing that I always like to do is provide some sort of covering over the chicken coop during the winter months. In the daytime, if it's pleasant, I can always take that cover off, but in the winter, I want to make sure I have some sort of material that at night or during really cold spurts, it's going to protect chickens from rain, it's going to protect them from moisture, and it's going to protect them from wind. While most chickens can survive at pretty low temperatures, when you throw in condensation combined with wind, it's a recipe for disaster. So the number one thing we want to do is make sure we're protecting that chicken. Number two, in the actual hen house, we want to make sure that we have wood shavings or some sort of insulation that is going to keep them warm, but also prevent condensation. Number three, I like to put straw or some sort of hay around my chicken coop to help prevent first, snow accumulation, and then second, to keep the yard a little bit cleaner. And then finally, I want to make sure that the food and water is properly placed to protect it against pests and also to make sure that water doesn't freeze. So now I'm going to just show you very simply what this looks like, and then we'll do a quick recap.
All right, as you can see, it isn't pretty, but it gets the job done. So what you're gonna wanna do is get a pretty thick piece of fabric. A lot of different materials could work. I like to use fabric from like a sewing store. And then just very simply, you can staple it to your chicken coop. The beauty about this, my chickens aren't real happy right now, but the beauty about this is you can just remove it in sunlight or if we got mild temperatures, and then you can put it back down at night. You can put it back down if you're expecting extreme temperatures. What we want to do is we want to wrap the entire chicken coop with this, but the one key is we want to make sure there's just a little bit of ventilation. So a little bit of ventilation to get that airflow going, obviously, but what we don't want is so much space in here that it causes condensation or too much wind gets in there and could potentially harm the chickens. The second piece, and I think our buddy Sven is here, Sven and Olaf, is we want to have some wood shavings. I'm going to have to put a few more in here. We're going to want to have some wood shavings in here. This is going to help insulate. It's going to help keep that chicken coop clean, and it's going to prevent that condensation that could obviously hurt the chickens. As you can see, I've got a camera in there, so I've got a live web stream. Feel free to check it out. And then straw. I like to put straw or hay. Number one, it's going to help prevent snow accumulation in these areas. Number two, as you can see, where there's not straw, it's a mess. So it's going to keep things pretty clean. We've got our buddy here, and she is just going to town. But as you can see, the other two pieces is I like to have a water feeder in there. I take it in at night. Some people use insulated water dishes. I haven't had luck with that, so I just like to bring it in and out. And then right here, and I'll go around, just having that feeder off the ground. I need to raise it. It's fallen down a little bit, but we want to make sure it's off the ground to really make sure we're preventing mice or other pests from getting in there. So now let's talk a little bit about the recap.
All right, now that I showed you the exact materials and how to really make sure that you're winterizing, let's just do a quick recap. Don't forget, we need 4 to 5 different steps to make sure we're winterizing chicken coops. Number one, we want to make sure we have a material over the chicken coop that's going to prevent wind, snow, rain, condensation from getting in there. We want to make sure we do have some sort of ventilation though. Number two, we want to make sure that we have some wood shavings or some sort of insulation in the chicken coop to help prevent condensation. We do not want our chickens to get wet. That's going to cause some damage to them. Number three, we want to make sure we have straw or hay around that chicken coop. Going to keep your yard clean, help minimize some of that add that water. If it's insulated, great. If not, we want to make sure it's always thawed and not frozen. And then we want to make sure we have our food feeder off the ground to make sure that mice and rats don't get it. So very simply, doesn't take much time, doesn't cost much money. That is what I would recommend to really just winterize your chicken coop. So please like, share, subscribe, and as always, check out thegardeningdad.com and happy gardening.